$16,341 in a day, $286 in outspend. How do we do it? In this video, we're going to go through it. I'm going to tell you the concepts, strategies, tactics we used to get these sort of numbers in 1 day sales, you might call them. So here are the receipts just to prove what happened on this day. So we can see here, 10th of July, $16,341 worth of sales. Amount spent, $286 worth of ad spend, and a 22 return on ad spend. Absolutely insane. But there is a method to the madness, and that's what we're going to teach you here today. So believe it or not, this was not from viral videos, influencers, or a massive 1 day sale where someone's getting 50% off. That is not, those are not the tactics we used to get this client this massive 1 day revenue amount. Okay, and I'm going to show you today how we exactly did that. So I'm going to teach you one of the most important concepts in marketing, and that concept has 3 building blocks. It's community building, it's non-commoditized products, and when and how to run sales. And we're going to put all of these 3 concepts together to give you a nice macro level strategy as to how you can run your e-commerce store and get these kind of results. So what's the problem? Why can't everyone get these kind of results? It's because 99% of e-commerce is made up of drop shippers and very general product sort of e-commerce. There's not much differentiation in any of the products. There's no unique point of sale, making them commodified products, making it a race to the bottom in terms of price. And we want to avoid that at all costs. Why? Because you cannot do this strategy with those sort of products. Why can't you do this product strategy with those sort of products? We just mentioned it. Their products have no unique point of difference. They're the same. Therefore, the supply of those products becomes diluted. This is kind of like a stock market sort of term, but it applies here as well because it's in the field of economics. So what does a diluted supply mean? It means you share supply with your competitors because you all sell the same shit. For example, let's use iron ore. If you're a company and you need iron ore, you don't care if you get it from a Australian company or a company from New Zealand. It's still the same material. It's still got the same function. Therefore, what are you going to do? You're going to try get it for the cheapest possible price. Now, how does that apply to our markets? Well, if it is a race to the bottom, if you're the supplier, who are you going to give the cheapest price? The person who can buy the most. That's why when you look at supermarkets, for example, the way they're typically able to get the cheapest price is because they buy the most amount of volume. And as most of the people I'm speaking to are probably going to be small to medium-sized businesses, you're not going to be buying mass crazy sort of volume and driving your price down in a pricing war. It's just not feasible for you guys. So we're focusing on a different kind of strategy that can actually help you. So as an example, what I want to show you here is an example, kind of like a diagram, to help anyone who doesn't understand this whole concept of supply dilution or price dilution. So here you've got your product. This is your yellow star. It's priced at $25. You've got your competitor who's similarly priced. You've got someone slightly cheaper who's at $22, and the premium product, which is at $35. But if you notice this red in the background, that's your supply. You all have your own unique suppliers because you're all your own unique product. Yes, you might be a competitor. It might be the overall the same, but each of these products are going to have their own little communities, their own little fan bases, their own group of people who prefer them for whatever reason. And when one is out of stock, they're not as likely just to move on to the next. They have an affinity for that particular product. However, when your product, as you can see here, is essentially the exact same, there's no emotional connection, there's no community, you're not standing for anything, it's easily replicable, this supply dilutes across all of them. You can go for this one, you can go for the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one. It doesn't matter. You're getting the same thing. What does that mean? It means it becomes a price war like we just discussed. So how do you avoid this? Number 1, community. Number 2, standing for something. And number 3, making a hard to replicate product. Okay. You have to put actual effort into creating your product. So let's go through it again a little bit. So community, we want to bring them along. You want to bring your audience along. You want to show them authenticity. And you want to show them every step of the way. You want to show them your journey into becoming this brand that you're trying to become. You want to call out who you're after. You want to emotionally identify with them. And how do you do that? You do that through organic social videos. And in those videos, you're going to Show them everything. You're not going to tell them what you do. You're going to show them and explain to them on video. You're going to show them your journey. And it's very, very engaging to see someone kind of doing what, it's kind of like aspirational content. People see that sort of stuff and connect with it and want to support those people. Then you want to stand for something. So make a statement. What is it that your product and your problem, what problem are you trying to solve with your product? Who are you trying to connect with? What are you standing for? For example, we have a particular client who they have a kind of like very emotional story as to why they created their product, something to do with sickness. And what did they do? They created a product that solves that sickness issue that they had in their sort of personal life. So the creation of the product was inspired by this problem that they came up against, and they relay that story to the world, and that's what makes it engaging, and they do extremely well. Hard to replicate. A very basic one. You would think this is kind of obvious, but you need to put effort into creating your product and branding in particular. The more effort you put into before you go to market, the better results you're more likely to see. So if you're a clothes manufacturer, don't just like buy it off Gildan or something. Put some effort into the material, into the cuts, into the designs. Put some love into it, and that way when someone actually gets it, they can start to feel like, hey, this is different from anything else I've really tried, and it gives you an edge and a bit of longevity. So now with the fundamentals done, we're going to go into the strategy. So first of all, step number 1 might seem a bit crazy, but run out of stock. You want people to feel what it's like to want your product but not be able to get it. The whole concept of FOMO. This generates perceived high demand. If someone wants something but can't get it, that kind of generates this buzz around it. It generates a sense of demand around the product, and that's super important. How do you do this? You want to announce that you've run out of stock anytime you do. You might be ready and able to put 100 stock out ready to go, but does that really benefit you? Not really. Put out an amount that matches the demand, actually probably a little bit below the demand of your product. So your demand should always outweigh your supply. Even if like in the short term, it might sting a little bit, but that's the reality of the situation. Your demand needs to always outweigh your supply. Inform the audience. When you run out of stock, it's a marketing opportunity. You want to tell your audience, hey, we're out of stock. We're not going to be in stock till Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's say you ran out on Monday. We're not going to be back in stock till Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it might be. It just instills this sense of like, oh, wow, okay. It's a bit of social proof. It's like, oh, this product's moving. Like maybe it's something I should be interested in as a consumer because it's kind of hitting my market. Like this is something that might actually benefit me. This also gives perceived supply levels. The audience will start perceiving your supply as lower than it actually is. This is highly beneficial because if we go back to like year 11 economics, demand and supply dictate price. If there's more demand than there is supply, price will go up. If there's more supply than there is demand, price goes down. Basic sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, that's dictated by the markets. And what are the markets? It's perception. Everyone decides on what sort of the implicit price and supply is. Number 2, what you're going to do is build a wait list. This might sound simple again, but there's a few apps you can get on Shopify, for example, that when you run out of stock, a little join waitlist button appears. And as soon as someone jumps on your product and joins the waitlist, as soon as you come back into stock, they'll get SMS and email notified. This is massive because it fills out your highest demand audience straight away. So when you put stock back on, these customers will be notified first. And we can segment these customers. Now, number 3, never run discounts. People get into the discount trap so often, and I see it all the time. The reason why this is so bad is it devalues your product. And if your product only moves with discounts, that means you've trained your audience to wait for a discount. This is a serious problem. Discounts, I said sales there, but discounts kill your perceived demand. Only run bundles, add-ons, and like free item gifts because that's like goodwill from you to the customers, not necessarily like we have to move this stock. Running discounts locks people in at something like what that they define as the product's true value if you're just always running discounts. it never really gives you the opportunity to run a real discount because you've just like kind of slashed your margins because this is the price that people expect to pay for your product. Always remember, you're training your audience. Now's when the magic happens. Once you've gotten these fundamentals down packed, move to a back in stock state once you've sold out. So, and you don't have to like truly have sold out, but once you've essentially hit that amount, wait a couple of days, move to a back in stock state. This will trigger your wait list and this will be your first lot of sales, okay? Run an email campaign. By the way, you should have been collecting emails during all this point, like standard e-commerce sort of stuff. Run an email campaign, notifying people, and this is going to be your second lot of sales coming through, your second highest intent audience. Then finally, run your BAU ads. You should, if you're in e-commerce at this point, you should be somewhat familiar with ads. Start running your BAU ads again, and this should be the third lot of sales. So at this point, you've exhausted your highest intent audience. You've exhausted kind of like your regular customers. And now and with the BAU ads, you've kind of just like touched on the prospecting sort of first time customers a little bit. But there's now an audience that we haven't touched. We haven't touched the low intent, top of funnel audience who are just lurking around your product. Maybe they've been priced out because you don't run sales and it's just the product's just too expensive for them at this current time. Maybe they've just been indecisive and they just haven't had anything to really push their decision. Maybe they wanted like a perceived low risk moment to try. Like, okay, I'm not so sure about this product. Like the reviews are okay. The reviews are good, supposedly. I just, I don't want to risk it. So I'm going to wait for the price to drop a little bit, After you've exhausted those audiences, get this, run a 10% discount. Now, before you think you just said don't run discounts, bear with me. I know we've broken the rule, but look at the context of the discount. You've exhausted the existing audiences. You've kept the product value high, and it's a small discount with a limited time only. Now, what does this create? Now, think about it. What does this do? It provides the low intent audience with an opportunity to buy. It's a moment for them. It presents an opportunity. People don't just it's that push that they need. It's an emotional cue. So it makes them feel like, oh crap, this is my moment. This is when I should buy. It's a perceived low risk entry. So, okay, it's cheaper than I would normally ever be able to get it. So I should give it a go. The audience has been trained to know that supply is always low because they always see that it's running out of stock. They know sales never happen because you're just never announcing sales if they follow you on social media. Maybe you announce a bundle, a free product, but it's not a real discount or anything. And they know the product demand is high because it's always out of stock. So what do they do when they're presented with just a simple 10% off discount store-wide? They buy it right now. And that's how we get those insane one-day results. It's so simple. And of course, we get that 10% discount, we turn that into an ad, and that's why you saw a 22x return on ad spend on that screenshot I showed you at the beginning. So in summary, these are the core things you need to remember. If you get anything out of this video, please remember this. Your perceived demand must always outweigh perceived supply. You need to build a community, stand for something, and have a hard to replicate product that cannot be a commodity. It cannot be the same as everyone else's. Otherwise, this does not work because they can go anywhere else. Never run discounts. Lean towards free products or bundles. Then exhaust your wait list and exhaust your email list. They're the first port of call. They're your regular customers who have probably tried your product and want to buy again. Then after that, you want to make a solid amount of revenue in a day or in a short period of time. Run a small discount. 10% max, depending on your margins. Maybe it can be a little bit more if you really want to send it. Set a limited time and watch it go crazy. You put that email out, you put that discount out via email, socials, and your ads, and you'll see in a short period of time insane results if you've done all of the previous steps. This does not work for every e-commerce brand that's been a little bit lazy or not trying to create a premium product. This is for premium products. If you're still a little bit confused about why this works, I'm going to get you to look at Apple. So, real life example, they have a non-commodified product. It is Apple. They have a premium product that is great. They put a lot of effort into it. It's highly sought after, somewhat luxury. They never run discounts. And when they do, it's max 10%. They have a rabid community that's going to buy whatever they put out and is always being talked about. And their product stands for something. It's premium. They stand for innovation. And like whether you love them or hate them, they have a whole vibe around what they do. So they fulfill all of the criteria that we just chatted about. So thank you for watching. Also, we're offering a free e-commerce coaching call with me. Head to the link in the description. And if you need help with your e-commerce store, book in a call below via the link. Thank you.